And it's interesting, early on, if you look at, so these are the three surfaces that have a story, which we'll talk about in a minute, embedded in them. Let's see, I can go back, look at that. It occurred to me early on in thinking about these textures that you see that connect as you walk around the vessel, that it's kind of like a scroll, which we've all been influenced by scrolls, but I think scrolls in Judaism is perhaps more important than in where I come from in the Protestant world, as a way of telling stories. So here are the three of the three surfaces. So what are those textures? Well, one of the things that Barbara pointed out to me is that fixture right there, that light that stays on all the time, the light of God. And Temple Beth Or, it's in the name itself. So maybe light needs to have something to do with these textures, i.e. holes that will let light through. If you got inside of it at certain times of the year, you would see beam sunlight entering, but that's hard to do. You got to have a big ladder. But what you do see is, like you see here, you see light coming into the inside and ricocheting off the holes, which you can see, and where you see the light, the actual beam light reflected, depends on where you are and where the sun is in season and time. The Hebrew letters came up in the committee and in discussions with Rabbi, etc., and I learned that some of them have particular sort of magical properties as graphic symbols, not just as letters in an alphabet. And so they seem to want to be part of this. And here is tooling the mold. We'll look at this a little more, but so I'll explain that later. So where is Judaism from, and where is this congregation from? Well, in part, it's from the Negev desert, which I had access to photographs of from the air, and was able to compose. So this is the mold, and this texture changed quite a bit. It got less dramatic. You'll see it in a minute. But this congregation is also from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is its third site, and this is the William Christmas plan from the 1700s, and of downtown Raleigh. And so we made a stainless steel stamp, if you will, of part of downtown Raleigh, which is part of the piece, where this congregation was born in the 1919s, I believe. Is that right? Thank you, Barbara. And those are the stamps that we made cut out of steel to make the letters. And I'm not sure where the idea of the breath of God came, but it came from some conversation I had with somebody here. And graphically, I liked that. So here, these are the wind patterns of the Atlantic, which I've looked at for a while, and they became this pattern made from ropes that are pushed in by hand to the leather-hard clay. So here are the molds, all three of them, without the rails. So this is just the texture part. And you can see all the parts: Jacob's ladder, the letters, the breath of God, the Negev desert, and I've left out something. The what? Raleigh, yeah. Which, let's see. There's another place where we'll see it, I think. You can see it in the real thing. Just go outside, and there it is. So from here, we then make the sides of the mold, so it's 8 inches thick, And within that 8 inches is a whole lot of steel, so that when we lift it up, it doesn't crack. And then we fill that cavity with concrete, pretty high-tech concrete, as in very strong concrete. And here are so how to make a hole in precast concrete? Well, what you do is you take PVC pipe and put foam rubber around it and then tape, so that when you pull it, it shrinks in diameter and actually releases and leaves a smooth hole that will reflect the light. That was one of the many things we had to invent to make this piece. Kind of looks pretty crusty here, but it's, again, go outside and you'll see it.